Hey, welcome back to the X Spot.
Silly. Whatever.
It's Dion Bickham, aka Darth Riders, with my wife, Jiana, aka Darth Clitoris.
No. 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 Ugh. No. Mommy's recording it right now. All right, go back downstairs, chunky booty. Move out the way.
Stuff to
Stop.
edit out,
I'll keep it in there, but still. Xavier, stop. Move. No. All right,
Keep all
bye.
this in there.
All right, bye.
You can't keep all that in there.
Go, Xavier.
You can't keep all that. You're gonna do some editing.
All right, go. So as you can see, kids just, they hear us up here talking and laughing and giggling. They want to see what's going on. So Xavier, was all, I want to say hi. And our other son, Elijah, just keeps running in and out of his room into the loft here, playing with the lights in the room or whatever. So there's going to be some interruptions.
It is what it is, and it's hot.
Yes, it's hot. We turned off the AC because with the AC on, it's really loud. And so we're just going to, be burnt up for a minute while we do this video.
Yeah,
but
so
whatever.
So today I'm Darth Sweaters.
Yeah, because it's you know one that put on a black shirt.
And 100-degree weather, yeah, brilliant me.
Triple digits out here right now.
We're in California.
Well, it's not triple digits everywhere in California.
In the part of California we're in
the Inland
hot.
Empire area.
It's hot.
So it's hot out here.
It's desert.
Like,
it's hot.
103 today. So
yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway. Powers of X number 2. Powers of X number 2. Powers of X number 2. Where to begin with Powers of X number 2?
How many times are you gonna say Powers of X number 2?
One more time. Powers of X number 2.
Whatever, man. Okay, so listen.
I guess she wants to start.
Is it chasm or chasm?
I guess she wants to start.
No, I'm asking you a question.
What? You can't read? Hole. Chasm. Hole.
Okay.
Big hole.
So look, so the first page, well, actually not the cover, but whatever, because we had the discussion last time. So Magneto said something. He said, "There is a chasm between you and I, Charles, a gap that cannot be crossed. With each passing day, I fear it never will be, Magneto." So I read this and I thought, oh boy, here go Magneto with his thing again, about to be like, we about to have some beef, Charles. Like, we're not on the same page. We ain't gonna never be on the same page. You're gonna do what you're gonna do, and I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. That's just what I thought when I first read that. That's all. That's all I wanted to say. All right, go.
Man, so deep.
Shut up.
Powers of X was pretty fun though. The second book, there's a lot going on though. I will say that, and of course we're gonna go into some spoiler stuff here. I don't know how much we're gonna do because there's so much going on in this book. It's crazy the amount of stuff going on in this book. But we kick it off. We kick it off with a really, really cool scene where we see how Professor Xavier recruited Magneto. How they decided to work together. And it's real cool because like Moira, as we talked about the last time, Moira has this thing where she's going through like all these different lifetimes, and we saw like in the last House of X book last week that she revealed her mind to Xavier. So basically what he did now, he revealed that to Magneto.
Okay, so who was the lady that's with him that revealed it to Magneto?
Moira McTaggart, the one who...
McTaggart, but I thought he called her something else.
Moira X.
Oh, she's Dr. McTaggart. Okay,
yeah,
my
she's
bad.
a doctor.
Okay.
Because she's brilliant. Because she's had all these lives. She cheated on all the tests because she's been through it. Like, she took the test like 10 different times. So, of course, she's considered a genius now.
Okay. Also, that's what she did. So Magneto took off his, I guess, helmet.
Because
shield.
his helmet protects him from
having
psychic.
his mind read or whatever,
Yeah,
right? So he took it off and she showed him everything, I guess, that was supposed to happen. And
she showed him the same thing that she showed Xavier when she said, I'll go through all these lifetimes. I'm going to stop playing by the rules. Now I'm going to show you this. And she showed it to him like before he even formed the X-Men or anything. And so then what he did was he went to Magneto. They went to Magneto together, and he opened up her mind her mind to Magneto. So he basically shared the information with Magneto, which is crazy in and of itself. Because this seems to be like the only person that he shared it with at this point. But go ahead, what were you gonna say?
Well, after Magneto saw everything that was supposed to happen, and Charles was asking him about, I guess, working together, Magneto told Charles that you know better than this. You know that I'm not interested in survival. And then Charles was like, well, good, because I'm not interested in survival as well. And then, I'm more of a, rah, rah, rah type of girl. So Magneto was talking to Charles. He said,
I'm going to keep you in check.
He said, I won't accuse to sympathy or doubt, Charles. I won't give an inch. I will check you at every moment and weakness. And if you falter, know that I will not. I really like that quote, because I'm like that. I'm like, look, dude, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Don't be coming in here telling me we're going to do this. And then we start getting in here and it get rough and tough and stuff. And you start changing your mind. Like, nah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Whatever it takes. So that's how I am.
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really cool scene. And keep in mind, this happens like in the first couple pages of the book. So we ain't even got into it really yet. But I thought this was really, really cool because Xavier saw that all the stuff he saw through like all of Moira's different lifespans or whatever. When he was talking to them, he said, "Look, apart we don't have a chance. If we keep doing this thing the same way, if we're apart, we're not going to make it." So that's when he comes up with this idea of, you know what, we need to all just come together so that we have a chance, because this isn't working. So that's why the first thing they do is they go to Magneto and they let Magneto in on the secret. I'm gonna just call it the big secret, because they're the only ones that know about it right now. So that in and of itself was cool. It was a very, very cool way to start the book.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was cool too.
Okay, but now, as we know, Powers of X is done like a little bit different from the House of X book. The House of X book usually stays like in the one timeline when they all basically like declared that they're going to live on the island of Krakoa and do their own thing. Powers of X does something different. Powers of X goes through like 4 different timelines. It seems like that's the way it's going to go, like through every issue. So in this one, the first timeline we saw is like the beginning timeline. They call it year 0, basically when they're just now forming and doing whatever they're going to do. And that's when they go and they talk to Magneto. After that, we see the 10 years in the future point where House of X takes place, where they decide that they're going to basically defect from mankind and stuff. And then also we get another cool scene even there. Do you want to talk about that? Like what you perceive? Okay, we get another cool scene there where, like, in House of X #1, Mystique stole a bit of
some intelligence.
She downloaded some stuff off of the damage control computers or whatever. She wanted to find out some information or whatever, and she got that to Xavier. Now we get a look to see what that information was, and we see that it's the plans to create like Mother Mode, which basically makes like the Sentinels or whatever that go after the X-Men. But the cool thing is that as they look into this information, they find out that this is what's going to ultimately create Nimrod. Now, Nimrod is like big badass.
Okay.
Nimrod, let me break it down like this. Nimrod is a robot.
Them doing this creates Nimrod.
Yes, Nimrod is that's what they surmise, that if this continues this way, it's going to be the creation of Nimrod. Because what they have now is a Mother Mode, which can basically create Master Modes that create like Sentinels that go after all the mutants or whatever. But Nimrod is like a super Sentinel. Like that comes from a different timeline. It comes from the future, and it's basically a future where Nimrod has pretty much eradicated the X-Men. So this is a big freaking deal. Look, they're like, okay, look, if we let them do this, they're going to create Nimrod. Nimrod is going to whoop our ass, basically. So they're like, okay, we got to stop this. We got to stop this from happening. So, in like one of the really cool line, Xavier and Magneto are talking to Cyclops, and they're basically like, okay, we got to do this. And Magneto's like, dude, you're going to go do a frontal assault against a group that's comprised of all these people that want to end a mutant threat. You got people from S.H.I.E.L.D., you got people from Hydra, you got people from AIM. They're all working together in order to prevent this mutant threat. In order to prevent this mutant threat, right? You're gonna do a full frontal assault. How do you plan on doing this? And Cyclops just basically says, "Does it need to be done?" And Xavier's like, yeah, he's like, well, it's gonna be done then.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just cool. Cyclops just did his whole, he went back to being a leader we haven't seen in a while, and that was just a really, really cool geek moment for me. Do you have anything to add?
Nope, I don't have
Nope.
anything to add. Like I said, I just started reading this book. I don't know the history of all the X-Men and all this stuff. This Nimrod, I only found out about Nimrod because of this story and stuff. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, Nimrod is a guy we also see at the 100.
I saw him
In the 100-year point when at the time of the man mutant machine war, Nimrod comes out on top and he's just like,
I know who Nimrod is.
Being a butthole basically. So anyway, the next part of the book we get a look at the 100 years.
That was 10
or
years.
90 years or whatever in the future or whatever where we still
100
have
years, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
I was a little confused by this part too, but go ahead.
Well, on this part we see the person that's basically running things for the mutants. There's only a few mutants left. And it was really cool because we get to learn who all of the remaining mutants are. We see that there is an inhabitant of I think he's in Cypher's body. Cypher was a mutant who can communicate. Cypher communicates with. Cypher had the ability to. He was a new mutant. He had the ability to communicate with all forms of life or whatever. He can understand any language and so forth. So there's this creature. I'm not really sure who it is. I have to do my X-Men research. I don't remember. But he is inhabiting Cypher's body, and therefore he can communicate with everything. So that's cool that we see that's Cypher. And we also see that another person is Zorn, who I never was a big Zorn fan, but okay, at least now we know who's there. But the big deal thing is that the one running the show in that future time is freaking Apocalypse.
Okay, see, this is why I was confused. We have Wolverine talking to these two people. Who are these two people?
Okay, those two, the other two people that are the survivors are like the genetic. They're the ones that came out of Mrs. Sinister's mutant breeding. That's Rasputin, who is actually, we talked about this the last time that we talked about Powers of X. Rasputin is a blend of, they were doing mutant breeding, and basically Rasputin is, I think, Ilyana Rasputin and Kitty Pryde and all them.
Who are these two people?
Rasputin and Cardinal.
Okay, that's all you have to say. I don't need all the other stuff.
Goodness,
Why is it that it was Wolverine that was reaching out his hand and asked him to give them the stuff, and then when they give it to him, the next page we look at it, it's actually Apocalypse. So what happened? Did you not catch that?
Yeah, well, they gave it to him and he gave it to Apocalypse. Who
gave it to Apocalypse? Why would Wolverine give it to Apocalypse?
What's her name gave it to Apocalypse?
So did
because
she
got
not
the
give it
three
to
fingers like Nightcrawler.
Did she not give it to Wolverine?
Man, I don't know. I don't care. Apocalypse ended up with it because Apocalypse is the leader. Apparently, Apocalypse is leading this ragtag group that are the survivors of the man mutant machine war, where in this place where Nimrod basically runs everything. So that's the big deal point that we get right here.
Does he control them?
Apocalypse, no, he doesn't seem like he's controlling them.
Why does he?
Because you remember they were all
why
they all
give me
were.
Your eyes, children.
Oh, Apocalypse just talks deep. He talks like he's supposed to be like, oh, I'm a god and all that stuff. So
he said, for this
that.
I would have sacrificed all of you. It means that much.
Yeah. Because that's just Apocalypse.
Okay,
Apocalypse
so if
like
they
that.
gave it to Wolverine, how did they turn around and give it to Apocalypse?
Doesn't matter. Apocalypse ends up with it. I didn't see them even give it to Wolverine. I see Three Fingers giving it to Apocalypse. And then Three Fingers belong to Rasputin because the Three Fingers are like Nightcrawler. And she's blue. So there you go.
I'm just saying, it seems like they put it there for a reason.
Okay, well, all right.
All right, so Apocalypse end up with it, and then we see
because this is actually what they were going after in Powers of X #1. This future group, this ragtag group, were going in to retrieve some information from the machines, and they actually got away with it. And actually, it was some indexing so that they could find what they were really looking for. They didn't get what they were really looking for, but they were able to figure out where it was located based upon this thing that they got. So, a lot of stuff happening in this story. Okay, and that ain't even all of it.
Okay, Apocalypse got it. Okay, whatever. So then this is Nimrod on the next page.